Hello and welcome to Talk Commerce. I'm Isaac Mori, and today we'll be hearing the story of Dude Wolf, straight from the founder Elina. We'll hear about the role of social media and community in brand building, plus some interesting insights into the ways that content marketing and SEO help reach new audiences. Let's dive straight into the interview with our host, Brent Peterson.
Welcome to this episode of Talk Commerce. Today I have Elina with Dude Woof. Elina, go ahead, do an introduction for yourself. Tell us your day-to-day role and one of your passions.
Hi, Brent. Happy to be here. My name is Elina. I am the founder of Dude Woof, and Dude Woof is an e-commerce dog brand specifically focused on the doodle market. So one of my passions outside of building Dude Woof is DJing. I got started with that a couple years ago, and it's a really fun creative outlet for sure.
All right, so you do live shows and things like that? Go to parties, and are you the DJ at the party?
So I do sometimes play out. The problem is that it doesn't really fit my lifestyle because it's usually super late at night. So mostly it'll be like a bunch of friends and I get together and we'll do something at the house. Some of us are DJs, so it's pretty fun. We'll kind of play back to back.
When I go to Las Vegas once a year for a conference, and there's always like this big name DJ that's on the side of a building. Is that what you're aspiring to someday, being getting on the side of a building in Las Vegas as a DJ?
I'm not sure if that's I'm not sure if that's an aspiration of mine, but I do enjoy DJing, so I guess we'll see where that takes us.
Awesome. All right. So before we get into content, you have volunteered or volunbarked to be part of our free joke project. I'm just going to tell you a joke, and all you do is give me a rating 8 through 13. So here we go. How does a dog stop your Netflix? By hitting the pause button.
Ooh. We give that a solid 10.3.
10.3. Awesome. Thanks. I love the granularity in there, and I love the floating decimal point. All right. So tell us a little bit about how you got started. Tell us why you chose doodles, and a little bit about your background.
Yeah. So pretty straightforward background. Well, I'm immigrated here when I was 3 from Ukraine, so I guess that's different. But went a pretty traditional route of going to college, getting a job, having my first job in tech, and then I switched around into different other industries in tech. And then in 2023, I got laid off from my job. And around that time, I picked up this book called 12 Months to 1 Million by Ryan. If you haven't read it, he's a great guy, great book. But the concept of the book was really to pick up an audience that you're going to serve before choosing the product that you're going to release. So at that time, I was broke because I got laid off. And I knew that no matter what business I started, I had no idea it was going to be in e-commerce. I had no idea what the heck I was going to actually put out into the world. But I knew that whatever I was going to do, I had to be able to use organic social media to promote myself because I didn't have money for paid ads. So I looked at my dog, and my dog is a doodle. And I was like, okay, what if I serve the doodle market? Because I'm not like an expert in it, but I can make content with my dog and I know enough about it that we'll see what happens. And so I still had no idea what product I was going to create. But I went into these Facebook groups. They're just typed in doodle Facebook groups, and there's a bunch that pop up. And I posted in there and I said, hey, what are your challenges of having a doodle? Would anyone be willing to chat with me just to like explain and just chat about the challenges? And so I had a handful of people that reached out and said, hey, like I'd be willing to chat. And so the number one problem was that their dogs get matted really easily. So I took that, I put that into ChatGPT and said, hey, this is a challenge that I'm trying to solve. What are some product ideas to help solve it? And one of the first ones that came up was a detangler spray. And the ones in the market, they were kind of filled with shitty ingredients and harmful chemicals. So I said, all right, I'm going to create the most natural and all natural human grade detangler spray for doodle owners because I know they have this problem. And that I'm going to document my journey through social media and my email list. And that was the origin of Doodwoof.
That's great. I think that ideation with ChatGPT is the fascinating thing that's happening nowadays.
Mhm.
Um, how has that then transitioned? And in the green room you mentioned you're mainly on Amazon.
Mhm.
How did you transition the ideation into developing a product and getting that product developed and tested and then onto the market? There's a lot of steps in there. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, definitely a lot of steps in there. The whole base of my business is building an audience of raving fans. So most people when they launch on Amazon, they'll just stick a product on there and kind of hope for the best, run some ads to it. I thankfully did not have the luxury of that because I didn't have the money. So I knew that, and I'm saying this thankfully because it has built my business to where it is now, but I had to really dive deep with my audience and document my journey, figure out a launch plan for actually putting this on Amazon and driving traffic there. So I was really building connection with these doodle owners that kind of started following me. Someone would hop on my email list, someone would follow me on Instagram, I'd get them to my email list. And actually building a business that's not dependent on Amazon because I have the customers off of Amazon. But my main channel that I would send them to buy was Amazon. So on launch day, I had, a couple hundred people on my email list, maybe, and probably like 600 people, and then maybe like 1,000 followers or so on Instagram. And that was 6 months of building that up while I was, on the other hand, manufacturing my product and talking about the challenges and the wins of doing this. And so when I launched on Amazon, we had enough traction built up and people were excited enough to buy that triggered the Amazon algorithm and got the number one new release. So after that, like the cool thing is because you have those customers, which most people do not take the time to do, building that audience off of Amazon, you can now go to them and ask them for reviews. And that kind of builds that snowball because reviews are like the backbone of everything. So building that beginning portion of reviews is everything.
Hey everyone, Brent Peterson here from Talk Commerce. You know what really got me thinking about style? My kids. They looked at me one day and said, "Dad, you just can't wear hoodies and conference t-shirts anymore." They were right. As someone who's constantly meeting with e-commerce leaders, speaking at conferences, and recording podcasts, I need to look sharp. But honestly, I hate shopping for clothes. That's where Taylor comes in and rescued me. Here's how it works. You rent clothes instead of buying them. I get my own personal stylist who curates my perfect outfits and sends them to me. I can even text them about upcoming events, whether it's a big client meeting or a conference keynote. Every month, I rent 5 to 7 pieces from quality brands that fit my style perfectly. I wear them for weeks, get compliments, then send them back in a prepaid envelope when I'm done. No commitment, no clutter. And here's what I love about renting. No decision fatigue, no cluttered closets, and I'm always trying some new styles I never would have picked myself. Plus, if you really love something, you can buy it at a discount. The best part, even my kids approve of my style. If you're tired of stressing out about what to wear, try renting from Taylor. Go to tailor.style, that's TAELOR.style, and trust me, your future self will thank you.
Yeah, so the journey, you talk a little bit about the reviews because I think a lot of business owners, especially small business owners, don't take advantage of the reviews and they don't think about do you incentivize your users to give a review or how do you get people to do the review?
No, you can't with Amazon. They're like very strict, so you can't be like I'm going to give you a rebate or something like that. Um, it's really, I ask people for reviews. If someone says they like my product somewhere, like if I have an ad, someone comments like my product, asking for a review right away. On my email list, asking for reviews all the time. It's like a call to action that I have, an honest review. But the thing with reviews is it's the backbone of legitimately any business, especially an e-commerce brand, especially a brand that's on Amazon, because you're competing with so many other giants. And most people are more likely to leave you a 1-star review than a 5-star review because, if you like a product, you're just moving on with your life. So you have to go out of your way and you have to build systems in your business to get those people to leave you reviews. And if you ask them, a lot of them will end up doing it.
I help manage some smaller stores, and I know that the owners always struggle with those 1-star reviews. And I do say it's not important to have a 1-star review, but it's also a lot of people are skeptical when they see 5 stars and nobody's ever given a bad review, right? How do you deal with the somebody that's not happy with it, or even the ones that leave an incorrect review? How do you deal with that type of situation?
So it's just inevitable that people are going to leave you bad reviews. So you just have to get as many 5-star reviews and get as many of those people to leave you reviews to counteract it. Another thing that I do is, for example, when I launched my second product, the shampoo, some of the bottles came leaking. So I was getting 1-star reviews. I got like 2 for that. So what I did is I immediately screenshotted that and sent it to my email list because I have like a connection and audience built. And I said, hey, look, guys, I'm getting this 1-star review. I got a 1-star review talking about the leaky bottle. I know this can't be the only person that had this problem. So if you had a leaky bottle, email me so I can send you a new one and refund you. And then in my PS section, I said, by the way, like it takes 28 5-star reviews to counteract a 1-star review. So if you like this product, or can you please leave me a review? And so I had a bunch of people that went and left a review. So just being honest and transparent and building connection with your audience, like every time someone is clicking that button to buy your product. I think especially in e-commerce, people forget that. And having some sort of connection and humanizing your brand is everything.
That's such great feedback, and I really resonate with hearing about how being authentic with your user base is so important. And I think a lot of business owners either fall into the trap of trying to hide those bad reviews or covering them up, or even, I've seen business owners that respond to negative reviews in a negative way, and I think people are really onto that. So, kind of moving on to your product development. You mentioned 2 products now, a detangler and a shampoo. How are you coming up with your new products and kind of feeding that pipeline to continue growing?
So asking the audience what they want, and I'm always I have a couple products in development right now as well, and so I'm asking for one of them. For example, I said, hey, I sent an email to my list and I said, would love some feedback on this new product. Don't want to tell you what it is yet, but if you're down to just meet with me for 15 minutes, I'd love to get your thoughts on how this is looking and if you actually want it. And so just consistently, I'm asking the audience. I'm not the one even coming up with the ideas. I'm asking the people, the other doodle owners in my audience, what do they want? Because it's so much easier, first of all, to sell a product that people they know that they want it and they feel like they have a challenge or a problem. And then I'm creating that best product to solve their problem. That's a lot easier than me coming out with a dog bowl and being like, here's this dog bowl. And people are like, I don't need this. Yeah. But if someone has a problem, like their doodle's hair gets matted, then I'm creating the best detangler spray for doodles out there. That's so much of an easier sell because they legitimately are so grateful to have this product, and I'm continuing to add value to the audience and those people.
One of the things that I was just at Shop Talk, which is a e-conference, online retail conference in Chicago, and a lot of the things they talk about now are the ability or the need for your site to have question and answers, and really a lot of that drives traffic to your site.
Mhm.
Do you do extra materials to help doodle owners understand maybe some questions they may have, and do you then engage your community to come up with some of that content?
That is funny you say that about the question and answer because I didn't know that was a thing people are talking about, but we put it on the website. We put a bunch of FAQs on the website, because in my head with AI, that's what it AI, like that's a really easy format for AI to grab information from. So that was an interesting point. Can you repeat your question?
Yeah, I mean, do you for that question and answer, are you going back to your community to learn some of those questions that people are asking, and then you're putting them on your site? And you're right, that's exactly how, like, if you, I think even Google, a lot of times at the top are your questions people are asking, and then it comes the link to the site. So that's even becoming more important, is that
Yeah.
is the questions that people are looking for, because they're looking for content that resonates with people to get them back to a site to spend more time on it.
Yeah. So for the question and answer specifically, it just so involved with what people message us all the time on Instagram and just everywhere, TikTok. So I kind of know what questions they're asking. So that's what goes into our FAQ section, because they just already ask us this, so they'll email us. And then we do a lot of blog writing as well. So we'll release a new blog about once a week. And so that's really just to provide value for the audience. Like it could be like how to brush your doodle daily, or it could be, DIY pagarita for your doodle, just something. So those are things that either people are searching for, or I see them somewhere and I'm like, oh, this could be a good blog. But we just try to provide as much value to people as possible, and also to help boost our SEO.
When you're trying to put together a meeting, do you always use Doodle for the meeting invites? That's a little bit of a joke. Doodle polls. Never mind. I'll stop there. Do you see? I got you to laugh at that one. Do you do you have plans to go down any more breeds, or are you just stuck on doodles? Like, do you ever have would you ever think about adding Jack Russell Terriers to the mix?
No, unless it's a completely new company. So it doesn't really make sense, because the audience that I've already acquired, that customer, is a doodle owner. So instead of going and having to acquire a new customer, I'd rather create products for that specific customer that they want. And so that boosts the lifetime value of the customer, and it just builds more trust with them. And then I have like an actual kind of doodle domination community.
The Doodle Domination. I think that should be the title of this episode. Will be the Doodle Domination. We have a few minutes left as we close out. I give everybody a chance to do a shameless plug about anything they like. What would you like to plug today?
Yeah, if you're looking to build an e-commerce brand, and especially I call it branding on a budget, which is building an actual community of raving fans to help drive traffic and to release products to, you can contact me on my website at www.elinatalksbrand.com, ELINA, and I'd love to help you.
That's awesome. I'll make sure I get those on the show notes. Elina, it's been such a great chat. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Went super.
Talk Commerce is a production of Content Basis, LLC. For more creative content, go to contentbasis.io.